waking up, morning routines, and struggling to get out of bed. Those are often the questions I get asked about, or something that people discuss with myself on my consulting calls with the guys that I'm working with in the e-commerce space, digital marketing space. Again, guys, whatever space it may be, individuals have most difficulty with this if they're self-employed and working on their own businesses. Like, getting out of bed at times can be difficult, especially if you're individuals who are pushing yourself when it comes to work capacity and dealing with stressful situations. Okay, so I'm gonna talk you guys through waking up, morning routines, and essentially how we optimize that. Because I'm sure you've all had that time where you're laying in bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, you have no idea how you're gonna force yourself out of bed. You feel like your sleep quality is impaired by waking up so early. As a result of that, your day goes to shit when it comes to productivity and output. And quite frankly, you're dreading getting out of bed in the morning, and if they didn't know how to optimize your morning routines, you normally just go straight to your desk, get into work, and you realize that half your day's gone by just like that, and you've barely achieved anything. Okay, so we're gonna dive into the topic now. So the best time to wake up, first and foremost, is between 5 and 8 a.m. And the reason as to why is because cortisol is being produced at its maximal amount at that point. Now, cortisol is a stress-related hormone, which gives us a kick when it comes to waking up, and also when it comes to our bodily function, both physically and also mentally. Essentially, cortisol is being produced by our body to make us avoid any threats when it comes to physical stresses, especially when we're in an environment where we're living in, for example, like the outdoors, and then we have to avoid being eaten by animals, okay? Cortisol is produced at that point. It's going to give us a kick in the morning, get us out of bed, and ensure that our body feels like it's optimally functioning, both in regards to our cognition and also physically speaking. Okay, so best time to wake up is between 5 and 8 a.m. Also, the reason as to why is because daylight starts then rising at that point, or from there daylight obviously then seeps through windows, whatever it may be. We want to be working in terms of our circadian rhythm in line with daylight hours. Okay, so trying to wake up as early as the sun rises, and then from there go to bed pretty much at the time in which the sun sets. Okay, I'll talk to you guys about that as well. So cortisol peaks at 8, surge of energy to fend off any potential threats, and obviously start the day in the most correct way as possible. The reason as to why I want to maximize cortisol production as well is because it is one of those hormones which is produced, which makes us feel so great first thing in the morning. It'll make sure you feel much better than you would do if you're consuming caffeine first thing. So I'll talk to you guys about that later. But yeah, we want to make sure we wake up between 5 to 8 a.m. to ensure cortisol production is at its peak. And if you lie in, you will miss this kick. So if you lie in past 8 a.m. and you wake up at like 10 a.m., like you might do on like a Sunday morning, you often feel fairly groggy and feel like your day doesn't get off to a very good start. As a result of that, your day is impaired in regards to your performance, once again. And the reason as to why is because you missed the window for cortisol to be produced. Okay, so you get up at 10, cortisol isn't being produced at that point, and then from there you simply feel very foggy in your brain in regards to your thoughts, and then from there also physically speaking, you feel like you can't quite perform at that level because your body temperature is also not rising correctly. Okay, so you want to adjust your circadian rhythm and avoid an alarm clock. If you can do, and you're running your own business, you want to avoid an alarm clock at all costs, and adjust your circadian rhythm to times that work well for you. So as you referred to this in a previous video, but the times that work well for myself when it comes to my sleep start and end times are 10 p.m. and then from there 6 a.m. Okay, my body's going to be more inclined to sleep at those times, and in regards to the way I handle my routines and habits and also systems, I can easily fall asleep within that window. So I choose not to wake up on the alarm clock. I know I'm going to wake up more towards that point because cortisol is being produced, my body's now used to it, and from there, in regards to interrupting my REM sleep cycle, it's not going to be happening. Okay, so my sleep's going to be more optimized. Okay, if you have to be up at a certain time, make sure you utilize a light alarm clock, like something produced by Philips, okay, which is essentially going to light up over the period of roughly half an hour and ensure that you're not woken up in the middle of a REM sleep cycle or a deep sleep cycle, okay, to ensure that you're woken up in a light sleep cycle and you feel more positive as a result of that. So if you guys are working for other individuals, you're working in another business, you're not working on your own terms as such, make sure you utilize a light alarm clock as opposed to a conventional alarm clock to wake you up and get you out of bed, okay. Second action item is going to be making your bed in the morning. It sounds so simple, but it's something we do need to apply, especially when it comes to dictating what we do day to day if you are self-employed, running your own business and looking to achieve the 6-figure, 7-figure and 8-figure mark, okay? The reason as to why is because it ensures we have self-discipline and consistency ingrained into our daily routine, okay? So it's going to give you momentum. You've achieved something already, which is so simple, similar to how if you to wake up and do 10 push-ups, you feel much better for it. Making your bed first thing in the morning ensures success for the day, okay? And also ensures you're not going to get back into bed later in the morning when you feel fatigued or if you're not used to putting in place these systems and routines I'm discussing, because there'll be a bit of a shock to the system and often you'll be wanting to go back to bed, okay? It's good to obviously look at external surroundings and obviously have that reflection in your mind as well, okay? So when it comes to wanting to optimize your environment, having something which is clean and tidy and neat, like your bedroom setup, is going to be much more positive for your surrounding environment. Hence why if you're working on your own, you're working on a desk, like my standing desk upstairs, okay, I look to make sure that my working environment is something which is positive and something I'm more inclined to go towards, as opposed to being really messy and then from there something I want to avoid at all costs, okay. Third action item, get outside. Align yourself with daylight hours, and it's going to ensure that your circadian rhythm is much more optimally set, okay? The benefits of sunlight in regards to our response, in regards to melatonin being produced at night, and then from there also cortisol being produced, is huge. And most people avoid it at all costs. They tend to wake up in their own apartment, work at their own standing desk, and then from there simply do not leave until they need to eat or go and see a meeting or whatever it may be, okay? Get outside. Natural sunlight is going to ensure that natural sunlight in the AM, is going to ensure that your sleep start times are much more consistent, and hormonally speaking, that you're primed for sleep in an optimal manner, okay? It's going to set off your body's natural circadian rhythm, and also, as I said, morning AM light is needed for producing melatonin at night, okay, which is the hormone responsible for enduring sleep, okay, which is really important. Don't wear sunglasses if you are going outside at night, okay? It blocks the response in regards to the light source, okay? Make sure you avoid that at all costs. And also make sure you try to wear at least the amount of layers as possible, because there's still receptors in our skin responsive to light also, okay? And then expose your skin to sunlight, which is really important. So exposing yourself to sunlight also is going to lower cortisol, which is our stress hormone. So in regards to anxiety, in regards to how we feel in our physical form, and also dealing with inflammation, it's going to be lesser as well, okay? So make sure you expose yourself to natural sunlight, if not my Juve or red light therapy tool, which I have in place as well. Okay, 15 minutes in the sun is going to be key. You can either walk outside, you can either do some physical activity like having a little jog, maybe do some yoga, maybe do some mobility, whatever it may be. Get the heart rate spiked, set yourself up well for the day. Okay, and obviously at that point that's going to get the lymph fluids moving, which prevents stagnation and also staleness, which is also really important to be assessing. Okay. Now, next action item is going to be getting a glass of water in first thing upon waking. Okay, really important when it comes to hydration, and also when it comes to curbing cortisol being produced in such a high manner, which leads to anxiety, and then from there an ability to not focus on your work task or the objective at hand. Wake up, have a full pint of water, put half a teaspoon of salt in it, which is going to maximize electrolytes, and then from there also minimize cortisol being produced throughout the day as well. Okay, make sure you do that first thing in the morning. I normally have room temperature water, so get out of bed, make my bed, have room temperature water, and then from there I'll carry on my morning routine by going outside for 10 to 15 minutes, exposing myself to sunlight either with a little jog, either with standing outside and just walking around, maybe listening to a podcast, doing some mobility work, whatever it may be, okay? It's going to be a really great morning routine to set you up for success. Now, from there, what you want to also incorporate is exposure when it comes to temperature deviation, okay? So maybe incorporating a cold shower. So my current morning routine is set up like this. I wake up, I make my bed, I then have a full pint of water with half a teaspoon of salt in it. Okay, from there I then expose myself to natural sunlight for 10 to 15 minutes. If it's not sunny outside, or if I'm in a really massive rush, I then expose myself to my G whilst I meditate. Okay, red light therapy is also a great tool to utilize. From there I then expose myself to temperature deviation by having a cold shower for 3 minutes. So 3 minutes is quite lengthy, but it's also going to maximize my cortisol when it comes to production of that, set myself up well for the day as well. And there's also another task when it comes to overcoming that hurdle or objection for the day, because I don't want to be hopping into a cold shower, but I do nonetheless, and it sets myself up well. It also allows myself to control my autonomous nervous system as well, okay, which is really important, especially when it comes to dealing with fight or flight responses from stresses in terms of work, and also in regards to physical stresses when it comes to exercise as well, and setting myself up well to deal with that. So essentially how I handle my body composition and then my brain cognition. Okay, I really want to be responsive to my nervous system, so exposing myself to cold is going to be really important to that. Now, one question I get asked all the time is, should I work out first thing in the morning? And if so, when? And also, why shouldn't I work out first thing in the morning? Now, when it comes to optimizing physical performance, you do not want to work out first thing in the morning. The reason as to why is because your body temperature is going to reach its peak, and also your coordination level is going to reach its peak in the afternoon, primarily between 2 and 5 p.m. Okay, however, cortisol is being produced at its maximum point in the morning, so between 5 and 8 a.m. as I said already. So from there, if you were to work out in the morning, it's not the worst thing in the world, because your body's going to be adapted to that in terms of that stress response and can take on that excessive load. However, having said that, your body temperature is not to be particularly high, so there is a likelihood that you can get injured by working out first thing in the morning. Okay, so I wouldn't work out first thing in the morning necessarily. I'd rather put that in after I've completed my deep work blocks. So again, to finish off morning routine, wake up, make my bed, have that full pint of water with half a teaspoon of salt, okay, to obviously maximize electrolytes, minimize cortisol. From there, expose myself to natural sunlight for 10 to 15 minutes with the least amount of layers possible, no sunglasses of course, and then from there I either meditate or from there have a cold shower straight away. Okay, cold shower for being 3 minutes, and then if not, I then get into my work block and exercise later in the day. That's the morning routine that will set you guys up for success. I put it in place for my 6-figure earners, 7-figure earners, and 8-figure earners. Utilize it now, put it in place. Very, very simple action items, and you can benefit that when it comes to your output and productivity throughout the day, maximizing your intelligence, IQ, and energy. Okay, guys, so put that in place right now, and let's dive into it.